But Rob, we got Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, and of course they are bringing back Antonio Brown, and he'll be able to play this weekend, just in time as they lost Chris Godwin to a torn ACL.
And they say Fournette too, likely to go to IR. Chris, did you see that?
I didn't see that. Wow.
That story just posted sources on ESPN.com. It says,
so are they're not saying he's out for the season though?
No, it says he will miss the rest
out
of
for
the
rest of the regular
season.
season. Wow.
But a source has expected him return for the playoffs. They're signing Le'Veon Bell pending a physical. I just saw on ESPN.
Bell. Wow. All right. But anyway, the story here though is them bringing back Antonio Brown and Bruce Arians, who of course, when they signed Antonio, remember, let's go way back. We know Tom Brady likes Antonio Brown. And when there was talk about Antonio joining the Buccaneers last season, after he, served his suspension, was an 8-game suspension, Bruce Arians said he wasn't interested. And then, obviously, Tom Brady was interested, and so they signed him. And then Arians said if he screws up one time, that's a paraphrase, but if he messes up one time, he's gone. Well, he messed up one time, and he's not gone. He's back. Now, Arians said, Rob, that last year he thought he saw some positives from Antonio, so that's why he's changed his mind. And then here's what he said as well.
Didn't get much of a chance to dive into this yesterday, but you did bring back Antonio Brown after saying that he screws up one time and he's done. So what made you decide to give him another chance?
Well, the history has changed since that statement. A lot of things went on last year that I was very proud of him, and I made a decision that this was best for our football team.
What was the decision-making process for you like, knowing that some people might go back to those comments you made publicly about Brown and say, wait a minute, hasn't this guy had enough chances?
I could give it what they think. The only thing I care about is this football team and what's best for us.
All right, Rob, your thoughts.
Bruce Arians has sold his soul. And if that's what he needs to win football games, and that's all he needs. And I say that, Chris, from the standpoint, if it wasn't about screwing up one time, you wouldn't have to say that. You never had to put that out there. You never had to tell people what your decision-making was. We need a wide receiver. Antonio Brown's one of the greatest receivers, and we're signing him. You don't have. You're the one. Nobody pinned you to the wall and said, well, if he screws up, is that going to be? You said that. And now you act like everybody else is a hypocrite or everybody else is wrong because they're calling you out on your own words. Bruce Arians, you said that. You didn't have to say any of that. You could say, I'm going to keep whoever's on my team because I'm trying to win a Super Bowl and I don't care. All right? And the only problem with this, Chris,
which is the truth.
But the only problem I have with this is, Antonio Brown made their organization look foolish. They're the ones who ran out and put out a statement that, no, he's good. We don't know where this is coming from. You remember that? They rushed to his defense only to find out that, yes, indeed, he had gone out to get a fake vaccination card, which is a felony in these United States, okay? This ain't he just bumped into the, here's he go, and then they force him to pay a guy, a chef who he didn't want to pay and owed $10,000. If you want to forget about all that, what about compromising the health of some of his teammates? Rip Aaron Rodgers all you want. You have a right to. He lied in front of the media, but he didn't lie in front of his teammates and the people who are around. Antonio Brown was not vaccinated, walking around with the other people because he didn't want to be in protocol, Chris. Bruce Arians has a compromised immune system and some other people there. God forbid something happened to one of those guys. It's easy to say history's changed because nobody got seriously ill and nothing bad happened. Look at what they did to Haskins, a young kid in his 20s who went to a strip club with no mask. Why? Rivera had cancer, Chris. He has a compromised immune system. And they didn't want to play around with that when someone doesn't take it seriously. And for Bruce Arians to make it like, I don't care what you guys think. You said it. Nobody held you to that. That was your standard. Why would you say that? One screw up and he out of here. He had his big boy pants on that day. He was out there telling you that he was the sheriff in town and he had on his boots and he was going to kick ass if Antonio Brown didn't fall in line. Well, guess what? He didn't fall in line. He made the organization look foolish. And you know what? Bruce Arians swallowed his pride, swallowed his word, because all he cares about is winning a damn football game and a Super Bowl. I hope you don't win it, but congratulations, Bruce Arians.
I got no problem with Bruce Arians. People can change their mind, and people can make mistakes. And his statement about if he screws up one time, at that point in time, he probably meant it, but keeping it real, if Tom Brady and would have wanted him back, even had he screwed up last season, maybe he still would have been on the team with one screw up. But circumstances do change, Rob. I mean, I don't know what went on last season, but Antonio Brown was great on the field, and we didn't see there were no problems off the field that we know of. So when Bruce Arians says, you know what, I saw growth. I saw some things last year that when I said if you screw up one time, I meant it, but I saw maturity from him. He obviously helped the football team, but off the field, I thought he behaved himself well. That things can change. I mean, I'm not going to hold everybody to something they said in the past when circumstances may have changed. And that's what he said. Now, I think at the end of the day, Rob, you're right. Bruce Arians is one that was compromised. I mean, it was terrible. And I said from the get-go, if Antonio Brown tried to fool his teammates and his organization, which he did for a prolonged period of time, it wasn't like a couple hours, it wasn't like a day, it was a prolonged period of time, I thought the league should have suspended him. The league. If you leave it up to the teams, for the most part, they're going to play a guy that the league says can play. I mean, look around. We got dudes accused of domestic violence, not accused, but who did domestic violence. Some who are accused, some who, actually were, we know committed it. Antonio Brown, if it was about character, he never would have been there in the first place. This is about winning. So the league needs to come down. If they don't want a dude in the league, if they think what he did was so egregious, take it out of the coach's hands. Take it out of the quarterback's hands. Because that coach ain't judged on how nice his players are. He's not judged on how good of a citizen his players are. He's judged on, are you winning? His job relies on that.
Chris,
so take it out of their hands and put it. My morals,
Chris.
I disagree with a whole lot that these dudes are doing.
With you more,
but I understand we live in a world where everybody doesn't have the same views as I do. And if the league, Roger Goodell should have came down and said, no, he tried to lie. He lied to his organization. He's suspended for the rest of the season. If they say he can play, I'm not going to blame the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for saying, you know what? He can help us. And we're here to win. We'll take it.
A hockey player did it in the NHL, got suspended for 23 games without pay because
by the league?
By the league.
Okay.
Because the league jumped in and said, no, you can't do that. It's a felony.
That's
a crime.
What I just said. If the league should do it.
But the league did it in the NHL. All I'm saying is that Bruce Arians, he can do whatever he wants, Chris. I just hope everybody's fine and nobody has any ill effects from what happened. But to win at all costs when someone is that selfish and in a health situation, that's what bothers me. This ain't just about...
Well, then how many teams can you pull for? They all trying to win at all costs. They all got dudes of shady character.
I'm talking about in a pandemic where people are dying, that you would just put other people at risk. Just be honest, Chris. I'm not getting vaccinated. Where do I need to go for the protocol?
I agree.
That's all I'm asking you. I'm not trying to be.
I agree with you on that.
That's all. Hey, I don't want to be vaccinated. Kyrie, I give Kyrie credit. I don't want to be vaccinated, okay? We play different rules with you. You got to go in this room. You got to stay over here. You got to do that. Kirk Cousins did it. I respect those guys. I don't respect a guy who is selfish.
Did you respect him anyway? Did you respect him before this? I mean, come on. The dude, his character is as shady as it gets.
There are issues, there's no doubt about it. But health, some of those things that he did,
it wasn't a matter. With you. That's why I think the league should have suspended him for the rest of the season.
But
I'm not a team. Man, you got all types of dudes out here playing, and the team is like, look, we trying to win. I'm with you on what he did is terrible. But Tampa Bay, they try, and you know this, Rob, it's all about how well you play. You know what? Dwayne Haskins, and I know Ron Rivera was compromised and all that.
He had cancer.
But they also were looking at Dwayne Haskins like, you know what? He ain't that good either.
Well, I mean,
had he been Lamar Jackson, he might have still been on the team.
I get how that goes. I'm not naive, but I just think for somebody who stood up there and was talking about one mess up and you're out, it just
he made a mistake.
It rubs me the wrong way. That's all.
He made a mistake.
It rubs me the wrong way.
He said the wrong thing. I mean, that's what it is. He said the wrong thing, and he obviously changed his mind. And circumstances can change.
Maybe he's not a man of character, and maybe he's just a man who it doesn't matter. Some people, Chris, you know what? Let me tell you. And you know what? In the neighborhood, people would love to help the kids. And when we play Little League Baseball, if the local drug dealer came over and donated $20,000 to the Little League, guess what? The Little League would say, thank you, but we don't want that money. I don't care how many uniforms, gloves, bats, whatever it will buy, we don't want that money. You don't have to owe, and I'm not saying this is the same level.
Little League is not the same level. You're dealing with little kids who you're trying to develop character in.
Because it's going to help you.
There's no money involved.
You don't have to take.
I get it, but this is a billion-dollar business. This ain't little kids that you're trying to develop character in and teach to do the right thing.
Yeah, but they need uniforms. They need gloves. Why do we care where the money comes from?
It's different. It's two different things.